Hi, Roy here on my channel Roy Reads Anything, which is a YouTube channel about eclectic reading, and just thought I'd start the year for me with a bit of a book haul kind of thing, some of the things I've acquired recently and that I'll be talking about in the coming weeks. So starting off with a classic bit of pop culture, perhaps the most important popular culture artifact of the 20th century. Monkees Go Mod. See, it says mad and then the A's crossed out and there's an O, so it says mod. So it's a mad trip into the mod world of Mickey, Mike, Davy and Peter. So if you don't know who the Monkees are, bearing in mind some people suffer from being born recently syndrome. They were a pop group in a TV series in the 60s. So they were got together for the TV show, but here's the twist, they were actually really good. So the music is great, and the shows are these kind of surreal, kind of wacky, zany kind of comedy shows. They were on when I was a kid. Too young to even know what they were about. I just assumed that's what people were like. So yeah, Monkees Go Mod. One thing I'm interested in, what I'll get into when I look at this properly, is what they mean here by mod. Because here in England, mod means something very specific in terms of youth culture, music and style, that's not the Monkees at all. So what's that all about? So coming up, Monkees Go Mod. See, it's a proper book, sprayed edges, love it. I've also got together a little set of books by James Blish. So I was turned on to these by Caliburn, a subscriber who's always making interesting comments, and it was following on from, I've been talking about black magic, and Caliburn specifically mentioned a story called Black Easter, and then revealed that they were part of a series of books. Now, James Blish, I know as a science fiction author. I haven't read an awful lot of him. I can only actually remember reading his Star Trek novelizations, which were books that actually adapted TV episodes. Some of the earliest Star Trek paperbacks way back when. It sounds like an odd thing to do, but before many people had VCRs, you couldn't watch the shows again. So paperbacks with the episodes turned into stories was actually quite a good thing. Anyway, James Blish, this series, and it's a very, as I've got it, is a very disparate group of paperbacks. So there's Dr. Mirabilis, Roger Bacon, Heretic, Occultist Genius, which is, obviously it's a story about Roger Bacon, historical novel. Okay, so starting off, historical novel. Then we've got, not sure I've got the order right, Black Easter proclaims itself as science fiction, but from the blurb it reads a bit like a horror novel. When Baines, a megalomaniac arms manufacturer, employs for a secret personal project the Black Sorcerer Theron Ware DD, all hell is let loose, literally. Okay, so yeah, love that cover, and that has a sequel, another awesome cover, The Day After Judgement, and then an earlier Penguin book that does seem very much science fiction. The year is 2049. Yeah, apparently these are all linked together in some way. So it's another one of the Penguin science fiction books where they were obviously aiming for a bit of a highbrow approach by having fine artists work put on as the picture. So there's a crop of a Max Ernst picture there, illustrating A Case of Conscience. So, interesting. Look forward to those. And here's something I found out and about. I rarely leave the town I live in. You know, there could be vampires unable to cross flowing water who can range more freely about the earth than I can. But I did go to Liverpool this week and popped into an Oxfam shop where I found 3 books, all edited by Groff Conklin. So Groff Conklin was a editor of science fiction collections. That's how I know him. Loads and loads of books are to his credit, and this one is called Science Fiction Oddities. It's yeah, a hardback, and then I've got second series Science Fiction Oddities and Science Fiction Elsewhere. These seem to come from a small, short-lived publisher I'd never heard of called Rapp and Whiting, who did some science fiction stuff, some good science fiction stuff actually. So yeah, Groff Conklin. So it's a name to conjure with. Anyone into sort of vintage SF, 20th century science fiction's probably come across him. The only other Groff Conklin book I have is a paperback called Possible Tomorrows that I remember buying from a Woolworths shop, and I've kept it around. I just love the cover. I mean, a spherical brain with eyeballs suspended on some kind of drill contraption. Really, you wonder why publishers bother bringing out books that don't have spherical brains with eyeballs on the cover when you see how fantastic that looks. Anyway, yes, so seeing some Groff Conklin books, I had to pick them up. I don't think these covers are much to write home about, really. That's not where the money went. But what you're going to get in any of his anthologies are the sort of old school SF writers, mainly. What he's saying here is this is like stories that defy categorization by a range of authors. Some you've heard of, some you haven't. So in this one, for instance, you get Alan... Oh, where's the contents gone? Come on, publishers. Here we go, right. Alan Arkin, much better known as a actor, though he has written a bunch of books. Isaac Asimov, Charles L. Harness, R.A. Lafferty. So they're fairly well-known SF names, but there's other names here I don't know at all. I rather fear for the whether I'll actually enjoy this or not, because I don't... Humour in science fiction. It's not that I don't like it, it's that it's very difficult to do, and it doesn't always work. And especially when it's old, that can be really cringy. I've actually read the first 3 stories. The Alan Arkin story, it's a piece of whimsy. I didn't hate it. The Isaac Asimov story, exactly what I'm saying. It's humour that doesn't work, and it's very socks and sandals. Here's this old guy, not being very amusing. But the third one by Stephen Barr, Callahan and the Wheelies, where an inventor accidentally creates some sentient robots, and it's a bit of a sort of things get out of control kind of what's it called, Sorcerer's Apprentice kind of thing. That's actually written in a witty way and was really good. So I think it's obviously going to be a mixed bag. So got 2 of those. The second one's got some Fritz Leiber, Robert Lawry. Well, I know him because he wrote a series of Dracula books where Dracula is resurrected, fitted with an electronic control device that can kill him if he gets out of line, and then used by the guy who's resurrected him and his group of basically international crime troubleshooters, used as a sort of secret weapon against crime. So because of their control of Dracula, they can unleash him to wipe out enemies. And there's a whole bunch of these. I've only read the first one or two. They're really fun. Plus, old adversaries of Dracula appear as well. So yeah, that's what I know Robert Lawry for. Here's one of his SF stories. Who else have you got that I've heard of? Alan E. Norse, Frederick Pohl, and again, lots of people I don't know. So more science fiction oddities, and then science fiction elsewhere. Still Groff Conklin at the helm. Slightly different theme. Number of stories set in the future on Earth. So yeah, here he has selected. Oh right, I got it. Right. So there's another book that I haven't got. Science fiction else when. Stories set in the future on Earth. Here he's selected 5 more so far into the future. The distances between the stars are no longer unconquerable. The stars themselves become colonies. So, okay. Good stuff. Yes, so hooray for Oxfam. Hooray for escaping my town. Very briefly, this is what I came back with, like a mythical hero is going off on a quest and bringing back the boons for mankind. And I got my James Blishes as well, and yeah, not forgetting the Monkees. So stuff. This will also be. Hang on a sec. Oh my goodness. A year of gigantic books. So here was a present I got. It's a new centenary edition of James Joyce's Ulysses, with a whole bunch of essays and notes and things like maps, so you can sort of lead you into each of the chapters of the story. So it's kind of like Ulysses with training wheels. And now, you know, you don't know how big I am, but I'm telling you, this is a big book. So I've actually bought a library cushion so I can open it out in sort of, you know, obviously what I should have done is bought a derelict church that still had the pulpit in and read it on that, but settled for a cushion. So the plan is during the year I will tackle Ulysses in this kind of helpful way. I think with these kind of modernist literature, for me, it's a bit like jazz and religion. I can enjoy it if somebody explains why I'm supposed to be enjoying it. So let's hope that works. Anyway, great present. And I've also got on pre-order another gigantic collection of Conan comics that should be coming in the summer. So yes, huge things coming my way. Another one that's fairly big is this Frankenstein. It's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but it's a edition with loads of extra stuff, and I realised to my shame I don't really know the difference. I don't know whether I've read the 1818 edition that everybody says is the best, or the 1834 text. So this explains it all. This also was a present from a booktube friend, Michelle, from Michelle's Melancholia. So thanks, Michelle. So I hope to get to this either in parallel or after Ulysses. But all of that comes after Monkees Go Mod. Okay, I'm done. Thank you for listening. I'll be back. Maybe I'll insult Enid Blyton again. That upset a viewer recently. I will get the goods on her, and yes, set the comments alight with Blyton related inflammation. What am I talking about? Don't know. Okay, cheers.